Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Monday Musing. I'm hoping you can all hear me okay and things are working, but they usually are. So now I've said that, of course, nothing's working. I bet you, but somebody be very nice to me and let me know in the chat whether everything's coming through loud and clear. According to all my dials and charts and stuff, everything's fine and stream status is good. So why don't we start in the meantime by catching up with who's in the chat. So Surreal is first in line, very early on. Hey Surreal, how you doing, man? We've been chatting along the way, so I'm glad to hear your news, by the way. Steve Forrest is in there, or was for a while. I'm not sure I've seen him. Oh yes, he has commented recently. Alt Boys came in quick. Hello, evening. What else have we got? I think it was mainly Steve, Alt Boys and Surreal for a while. And then as we scroll through time, goodness me, I was doing far too much typing. I was meant to be getting ready for the show. No wonder it's a mess. Ferris joined. Hello, Ferris. How you doing? We got Alt Boys, Steve Forrest, Alt Boys, Steve Forrest. Goodness me, it was a proper chat. And Kablams joined at some point as well. Hey, Kablams, how you doing? And then I think the rush started. So we got Furious George, Tedious Payload, Sean Jewett, Scott Beale. Hey Scott, good to see you again. Medic 6666 off duty. Or rather, Sam's off duty. Vaughan Killian, Jamjar 34. Hey Jamjar 34, good name from the Hobby Kitchen. What else have we got? Mark Potter's joined us. Derpimus Maximus, still one of my favourite names on YouTube. Ralph Hummel. Hey Ralph, good to be back, mate. It's good to see you again. We have missed you. Ulster Nation, evening, or maybe means Eve. Does that mean it's the primary Ulster Nation? And lovely evening that was meant to be. Oh, there you go. He's sorted it out. And Zero Pathos has come in. And who else have we got? Akaria saying everything's working fine. So thank you, Akaria. Otherwise, the last 30 seconds would have been a waste of time. And Lidriff Dark Faith. Hello all. Hello Lidriff. I'm gonna go with Lidriff. And who else have we got? Harry's Fotiadis. Harry's. Hey Harry's, how you doing? And he gets an hour of pre-chat covered in like 5 minutes. That's me. Fast through the chat. Fastest chat reviewer in WGO, but you know that's my job. If it was down to Sam, we'd still be on the first comment, wouldn't we? But I like to. Surreal's just put, wow, Phil's quickfire puts Sam to shame. Right, okay then. So where are we at? What did I want to talk about tonight? What's on my mind? There's a whole bunch of stuff on my mind. My back's really bad. That's on my mind at the moment. And unfortunately, I've got to go back and see a specialist. So that's not brilliant news. But I'm stable enough for an hour or so. So let's whiz through this and see how we go. I think I was going to do a little bit of a channel update, only in terms of what's happening this week. So stuff to look out for. I've not got a lot of detail, but there's obviously all the usual craziness going off on the channel. So we'll do a little bit of an update on that. I was going to do a bit of a hobby update. I've actually managed, somewhere amongst all the craziness that took place this weekend, I've actually managed a tiny bit of hobby. And that tiny bit of hobby is also related to the next bit I wanted to talk about, which was our pending appearance on Warhammer TV. So for those of you who missed Friday's show, yes, it was Friday's show. For those of you who missed Friday's show, we revealed that we were... somebody's phoning me. That we revealed we're going to appear on Warhammer TV, which is good news. We are going to be on the 29th. I think I need to double check that actually. It's a Friday. I'm pretty certain it is the 29th. Let's just get the calendar up there so I don't completely mess this up. Well, let's try to get the calendar up. There we go. Yes, it's 29th. It is 29th, so it's a Friday. And a UK time, so that's British summertime. Will it still be by then? Yes, it will be. And we are on 2 till 5 on their Twitch channel. that's pretty exciting, and it's going to be a battle between me and Sam. Now, I said on Friday, I don't think we've had a battle or a bat report, and then Sam corrected me because obviously Sam's younger and has memory, and my memory cells have long since stopped functioning correctly. So he said we did do a battle. Now, if I remember rightly, and I could be wrong, but I think it was a Zone Mortalis game as well. Now, that's a game, that's not a battle, Sam. We don't play against each other very often, and it's not because we don't agree or anything like that. We just don't get the time. I mean, that's the craziness of it. There's, either he's filming battle reports or I'm filming battle reports, and we kind of don't cross paths very often when it actually comes to gaming. So, and I honestly can't think beyond those games. We've not played that many games against each other at all. Now, I've got a theory about that. As well. I think Sam's afraid of my Warhammer prowess. No, he's not. No, he's not. Yeah, because my Warhammer foo is not strong. And Sam's like mega into the rules and knows all the rules and everything. And for anybody who's watched any of my battle reports, I'm a proper, as they say, a beers and pretzels gamer. So I think the rules are there as a broad general guideline to how you should run the game, whereas Sam thinks they are, absolutely black and white and undeniable in their ultimate truth, the imperial truth. So I don't know whether we don't play because our gaming style is quite different, or we're actually deep down probably too much alike. I don't know. So we'll see. It's going to be fun. The competition and the big talk has already started. So Sam is going to be... Oh, I'm getting a little bit too much into it. We'll pick up a little bit more later about what the game is going to be about, what armies we're fielding, and I'll have a little bit of chat about my thoughts on the game. But either way, it's going to be fun. What else have we got? And then a Q&A, really. So please, people, do the @Wargamer Online, like Akari is doing a splendid job at, because that helps me pick everything out really quickly in terms of the questions. So, and I like quickfire, so sometimes I'm too quick and I miss a bunch of people's comments. So please use the @Wargamer Online. That would be lovely. Right, okay then. So let's jump back down to that. So, what have we got? Hi guys, diddle-a-doo, Big Mac Danskell. Oh, Big Mac, how you doing, sir? It's good to see you again. Akaria @Wargamer Online. Phil, saw your AOS bat report, Sylvanas versus Death. When did Mike get taller and more bulkier, and why are you calling him Steve? More bulkier. That's a lovely polite comment, Akaria. That's nice. I'm calling him Steve because he is Steve, and he's taller. He might be taller. That might be the camera angle. Steve, you're in the chat. You tell me whether you're taller than Mike or not. Bulkier, I'll give you that one, Akaria. I think we're both a bit bulkier than Mike. There's a lot of people bulkier than Mike. So yes, that was Steve, and that was our Age of Sigmar bat report. Maybe we should talk about that for a bit. I've had a debate with Sam tonight on whether we should pull that from YouTube, and the debate runs like this. You have to bear in mind that my back's still quite bad, so I'm taking a lot of painkillers. And in that particular day, when we filmed the battle report, I'd already done one set of filming with Jack in the morning, and I'd sort of dashed home and laid down for about 60 minutes and then got straight back up and went and set the studio up and started the game again. So I wasn't at my best in terms of clarity of mind. And in our excitement, somewhere between myself and Steve, we managed to miss his second turn out completely. And the way, I think what happened was I got the first turn. And I went first, but I did more or less nothing. My first turn's over in a couple of minutes. I move a couple of things, shoot one thing, turn over. Steve does this big sort of first turn where a lot of stuff goes off. And then we kind of go into the second turn. Now, it's not on camera, and we're not even 100% certain whether we roll for priority at that point. And then I do my second turn, and then inexplicably, Steve, at the end of my second turn, says we need to roll for priority, and you can kind of hear the confusion in my voice. I go, do we? And then kind of go, oh yeah, okay, like that. And then we roll and start the second turn again. So I have got an extra second turn, which I think is probably a better way of describing it. I got an extra second turn or an extra first turn, depending on how you look at it. Either way, we completely fluffed up. So the question is, and maybe we should leave it to the people on the chat, should we pull it? Because it doesn't necessarily represent us at our best, does it? Let's face it. One of the things I considered is just pulling it from YouTube and putting it as a freemium one, because obviously there's a pretty big error at the start of the back report. Saying that, a few people have commented on it, and the general gist of it is it's still it's still quite entertaining. So on the basis as a form of entertainment, it's so good. As a form of we know what we're doing when it comes to playing Age of Sigmar, I don't think it shouts from the top of the rooftop. So anyway, maybe people can make a little comment at the bottom and give me some advice on what to do with it. I think the general consensus is we'll see what happens, and if a bunch of people start going, you guys are clueless, then maybe we'll just pull it from YouTube and put it as just as a bit of extra content on freemium, and me and Steve need to try once more. Okay, what have we got going off? Let's see. Hey, Big Mike from Scott Beale. On my mind is me hating rebasing 300 plus miniatures. Harris, what are you doing? Rebasing 300 plus miniatures. That must be, I'm assuming, either Age of Sigmar going to round bases, or you're putting your Marines on 32mm, or it's something completely unrelated. Either way, let me know what you're doing. I'd be intrigued why you're doing 300 bases in one go. Ralph Hummel says, really appreciated your review of the Vallejo Metallics. I use them too extensively, and they are brilliant for brushwork straight out of the pot. I can believe that. They're amazing. I think I tried to sort of demonstrate that when I put the cotton swab in, is just how much, you know, of the metallic sort of grind you pick up. It's just, and it's so liquid-like. It's incredible. It is liquid metal. It's beautiful. I'm going to do an extended review of them, actually. We're going to try a few things out. Someone was, and it may have been used, Ralph, so apologies if it was you and I've misplaced too, but it made the comment of putting the gold down on top of white. I'm going to do that. I'm also going to put the gold down on top of gloss white. I want to try and see how far you can take that gloss surface. So I'm going to do an extended one at some point, but that's a little test I want to do before I start my Caradron Overlords, which is, as everybody knows, is a lot of metallics. Ralph Hummel, just a shame they don't produce decent golds in the line. Well, actually, there you go then. That would help with the Sigmarites. Okay then. What I do know, Ralph, if you are looking for really good golds, and I've said this before, so this won't surprise you, but this is my rebottled Forge World Thalax Gold. It's dreamlike, it's beautiful, it's a really nice paint, and if you haven't already tried that out, you need to try the Forge World Gold out because it's great. Very different property to the metallics from Vallejo, but still a very, very good paint, but more like a traditional airbrush paint. There's a lot, you know, I think there's a greater ratio of medium in there. Right. Big Mac Dan Skull, hey Scott Beale, Surreal. Going off track for a little bit maybe. Surreal, at Warhammer Online, have you noticed Necron Warriors have been discontinued? Go and look at the DW store page. I'd be amazed if they've actually been discontinued. It's probably a reboxing. What they've been doing is running their stock out on the old box artwork and then redoing the box artwork. In particular, if we think not supposedly, I think they've confirmed this, haven't they? Next month is about Tyranids, Astra Militarium, and Craftworld Eldar, I think, which is a pretty painful month for me. No doubt a Necron Codex is just around the corner, so maybe there's an effort for a reboxing as and when the codexes land. So I wouldn't be too concerned about Warriors disappearing. Unless they're going for a resculpt, but I just can't see it. I think the Necron Warriors are perfectly good miniatures. You know, yeah, you look at them now and you could go a lot more detail, a lot more studs and rivets and stuff like that maybe, but it's not really necessary for troop choice. Kablam says, at Wargamer Online. Thanks, Kablams. That's good. Well spotted. Old Boy says it's on his watch list. That's Iverly. Goodness me, will people stop calling me? So frustrating. I know. I'm going to airplane this thing. Oh, wait. Oh, give me a second, guys. Sorry about that. Let me airplane that, and that will stop the endless calling. Okay, what else have we got? I just saw it, and it's a really nice and relaxing one. That must be my video. I hope it's my video. I hope it's nice and relaxing. A couple of people asking Kablams about the weekend. Of course, it was the Wargamer weekend up at Warhammer World, wasn't it? And it looked like you all had a bunch of fun. Yep, happened. So Liderif is saying it's surreal. I thought that about Dark Eldar venoms, but they suddenly reappeared. Natha99 saying nothing like skipping your old turn. I'm a little bit behind on the chat, aren't I? So let's push up a second. Yes, bless him. It was his own turn as well, but you know, air is human, Phil. That's true. That's true, but sometimes it's unforgivable when it comes to the internet. Furious George is making a political statement in many respects. You know, if we just delete it, then history will be forgotten and will be doomed to repeat it. I love that. I love that big view of the world there. Thanks, man. Right. Okay, then. So this is Harry's saying he just did 100 Skaven on round, and he still has 100 skeleton and 100 zombies for his 6k White Walkers themed undead army. How nice is that? White Walkers themed. Cool. You've got me thinking about wanting to do undead now. Yeah, that's nice. And the warrior arc phalanx is gone. Oh, okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Like I say, I wouldn't be surprised if it's nothing more than reboxing, but you never know. There's not really been any new rumors about new models, but we'll see. Surreal at Wargamer Online. You have a nail like a shaker for your paints? ? No, I don't. I've not convinced myself on the cost. I mean, even on eBay and all the rest, it's still quite expensive, but I think it's probably a really good idea, especially if you're using the scale 75s and stuff, but they take a hell of a lot of shaking. No, I just rebottled them and I go for a 6mm stainless steel ball from Green Stuff World, so it's not the stainless steel balls that aren't really stainless and then rust in your paint. Those are really good and they've never rusted on me, so and the extra weight of the metal for me works, so a good old shake in that. And worst comes to the worst, I've got this little thing which was oh, can I get that in front of the camera? Yeah, there you go. That is nothing more than a coffee frother. You pick them up for like, you know, $1 sort of thing. I'm trying to be American there. $1 or less than £1 for us UK people. I cut the end off, I put a little hook, poke that through the hole, and you do that, and there you go. Cheapest paint stirrer in the world. Should have done that as a quick tip. There you go, that's a quick tip. What have we got going off as well? Recommendation. Ralph Hummel at, well, thanks for the tip. I'm using scale 75 golds right now. They work great in the airbrush, but I've ordered Vallejo liquid gold line. I've not tried the scale 75 golds actually. Yeah, I might have to tap on Sam's shoulder and see if he'll squeeze me a little bit out the top of his set. The Maximus flayed ones and the Arc are out of stock, but it stays temporarily. So there's all sorts of stuff going off with Necrons, isn't it? With all that stuff off, like I say, I'd be amazed if it's any more than a reboxing. Ralph Hummel, they're alcohol based, but supposedly work like metallic silvers of the airbrush line. Okay, the liquid gold line. Yes, I have seen those. They kind of paint them on and then the alcohol evaporates, leaving a line. Yeah, okay. Scott Beale says at WGO, it's got to be at Wargamer Online or it doesn't highlight, but thank you very much. Gretchen 40k Army, what do you think? Absolutely. Did I miss that comment from before? I think I may have done. Yes. It's one of those things. I think orcs, I've said this before, orcs to me are definitely probably a spiritual home for me when it comes to scratch building and messing around with bits of plastic card. I would love to do orcs, and in particular Gretchens as well, because my very first army, way back in first edition Warhammer Fantasy, was orcs and goblins. And as the goblin range developed and you got the goblin doom divers and all the rest, I really love the comedy aspect of that army. And Gretchen's, the weapons, the heavy weapon platforms and stuff like that are just amazing. So yes, I'd love to do something like that actually. I wonder if I could start with like 1,000 points and just price it up and go for it. Right, not right now though. At Wargamer Online, this is from Icaria. When you go to Warhammer World for the game, there will be, is there a celebrity green room? Will we get chance to meet Duncan Robes? Is he like Sam's Yoda? I've no idea how it actually works when you get up there. I don't think so. The gaming table's in the open hall. I think you chat to members of the social team as you're setting up, and they do the commentary bit while your game is playing. And I think sometimes you maybe have a bit of a debrief chat at the end or something like that. So I don't think so. But Sam knows Duncan anyway, so we bumped into him a couple of times as well. He is like Sam's Yoga. Yes, it was, well, Sam grew up with sort of in, you know, I think in the same Games Workshop as Duncan Rhodes and Chris Peach as well, I think. So he knows the story better than me, but he knows those guys. And they're a couple of brilliant chaps as well. I've met them a couple of times when I've been with Sam, and they're just really nice, very enthusiastic about the hobby. So they deserve everything they're getting in terms of the recognition. That's one of the, maybe one of the nice bits about the social media activity at Games Workshop is some of these people who have been working really hard in the background for years are getting recognition with the fans as well, so that's fantastic. Right, there's a chat going off between Dirpus Maximus and Surreal. Kablam's been airbrushing tonight. Big 50ml dropper bottles are a godsend for cleaning. So the squeezing out with big bottles like that, official WGO isopropanol. Dina, you can tell I've just been airbrushing, can't you, as well, and just water for rinsing the cup out. I do have a little thin bit of X20A from Tamiya. Great, love that. And I know people say it's just isopropanol in a bottle, but it isn't. I think there's a little bit of flow aid in there as well, and I've tried to recreate the mix myself, and I've never quite got it right, and to be honest, it's not that bad a price, and I use maybe 1 or 2 drops, or 3 or 4 drops in a session. So this is still the remnants. I don't know whether you can see how much is in there, but it's there, and that's what's left over from the bottle that I've had for about 4 years now. Okay, where are we? Go looking around charity shops for a lacquered shaker. Yeah, that's a good idea. That is a good idea. That's the kind of thing that might pop up every now and then. I have considered it to be a good thing. The other thing I've seen is people just convert a jigsaw, as in the cutting tool. There you are. That's the universal symbol for a jigsaw. And they mount that upside down. You put a small G-clamp into the jigsaw, and all you do is clamp your bottle in there and hit the trigger, and it goes up and down, and job done. So I think I've got an old jigsaw lying around the garage that isn't that great, so I might even do that and do some funky mounting the desk upside down so it's permanently poking out the desk or something. I love drilling holes in my desk. Right, okay then. Oh, goodness me. You see. To Icaria, yeah, you and Sam building your list in secrets, getting to practice games and planning any surprises for each other. We could, right, I'll answer that when we talk about Warhammer TV, if that's okay. Looking around. Tedious payload, finally got my alternative Irene conversion done. Just need an alternative for the G-Rinks. Any ideas? I was thinking of a cold one as my character to be Exodite Fluff. That would be lovely, wouldn't it? Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm trying to think of the alternatives. There was some old familiars that you could get from the Citadel range. And they are obviously lead back in the day. But if you do a Google search for Citadel familiars, there was all sorts of cool little things. Oh, I've just seen the Orc Boys has donated £10 to the channel, so Thank you very much, man. Thank you. That's really appreciated. We've invested a chunk into the channel, including buying camera equipment and stuff like that, and we've kind of drained the coffers. So we've had a couple of wonderful donations from people, which has been really nice. So thank you. There's obviously the Alt Boys just donated, and when on Friday night as well, Patrick and Methos and Roa all donated as well. So thank you so much. It really does help us do what we're doing. And it helps us build up, you know, everything we're doing, either camera equipment or more models for the review and painting and all the rest, or just paints and materials. So it's much appreciated. Thank you. What else have we got? Right. Okay. Sorry about this. I've lost track a little bit. Yes, go on to eBay, Tedious Payload, and see if you can track down some old familiars and have a look. There's some cool animals. If not, if you want something really weird and Exodite, there are all the little sprites that you get with a Sylvaneth army. There's all little flying creatures and stuff. I've got like 100 boxes of them, so if you want to send me your address, private message me via the online community channel. I'm a member of that. Pick me up there and send me your address, and I'll stick some in an envelope for you. So you could go with a little sort of Flutterby type familiar rather than a walking cat, which would be pretty cool. And they're all, if it's Exodite, it's all very foresty, kind of forest sprite type creatures. That'd be kind of nice. Well, I want to do that myself now. Right, okay, what else have we got? Karanas has made it. Well, hey, how you doing, man? It's fat. Yeah, it's good to see you again. Frost and Fists in the chat as well. Hey Frost, good to see you again. Thank you. Zero Pathos Phil, have you ever played Inquisitor? If so, what's your opinion of it? Never played D&D, but it looks a similar experience. Be interested in playing if GW decided to re-release it. No, I haven't played Inquisitor, and I don't know a huge amount about it other than, yes, it played a little bit like a role-play game, didn't it? And probably very similar to the mechanic of D&D, because most of those GW chaps grew up playing D&D. So no, I'm not. Would I be interested? You know, I'm sure you would be as well, if they decided to release it. Yes. I'm not sure I'd need the 54mm. I think the models are so finely detailed now. Then I'd be pretty happy if they just released an Inquisitor rule system that we could use our existing models for. Which takes me a little bit off track, but if I was to go a little bit off track, one of the things I was pretty excited about was, this, a new Eisenhorn novel. I really love the Thorn and Talon books with Eisenhorn and all the rest. I really, really love the Rogue Trader, you know, inquisitorial history in 40k. One of my favorite aspects of it. Just look at that artwork; it's just absolutely stunning. I love that. It's amazing. So I'd be really, and weirdly enough, I suppose Inquisitor was the gaming system that would appeal to me now. You know, back in Rogue Trader, the original games, there was a heavy sort of D&D / role play element to the game as well, which it's kind of, I suppose, like anything, my first love in fantasy or sci-fi wargaming. So I kind of missed that aspect a little bit, and I'm pretty excited to see some of the new releases that are coming out. You know, particularly, you know, some of the skirmish games that are coming out, which is going to enable me to do little sort of gangs and packs, Necromunda and all the rest. But I'd love for them to expand it, and I'd love for them to expand it with a detailed plastic range along the Inquisitor line, because it'd just be so much fun. I just want that as a model. That's fantastic. I've done my own Inquisitor and retinue. But, you know, it feels like they kind of fit in the 40k. You can bring them along as an allied force and all the rest, but I'd love to kind of focus down and go into a little bit more of that rogue trade sort of human race expansionism right at the edge of known space and stuff, and play around with that a little bit. But I'm not sure we'll get there really, because obviously the big narrative now, big storyline has developed around what's going to happen between you know, Chaos and the Imperium. So I think the narrative is going to drive heavily down that. But I'd love to have seen some of that more space exploratory side of it. You never know. With Gilliman now in charge of the Imperium, we might see some bright-eyed rogue traders out there doing some fun stuff. Okay, let's have a look. Got a little bit lost now, haven't I? I've been pricing up some 1,000-point Age of Sigmar for as cheap as I found, despite buying Grots for £80. I've just given Sam Jack's Grot collection, which was, I think, somewhere in the region of a 2,000-point list that I just built up over 4 or 5 years into boxes of half-finished projects, added to a bunch of goblins. That was from when I was, you know, second generation gaming. I'm in my third, by the way. Just basically dumped all of that on Sam and said make an army out of that. But there's some great models in that. Right, okay, here we go. You could do undead Caradron Overlords. It's a hell of a conversion challenge, that, isn't it? You could just say they're skeletons inside their armor, you know. Okay. Kablams is saying I think they've started to do pre-game interviews and then you jump in and play. Jolly good. I'll put Sam in for that then. What else have we got? Nicotine breaks for people, so I'm just going to talk nonsense while people have their nicotine break. Vicaria at Warhammer Online, Warhammer TV guest spot come about. Was it in the work for a while? Yes, it's been in work for a long while. I met with a member of the social team some time ago now at one of the events, and we got chatting and we've kept in touch since. And we were originally booked in for probably about a month and a half ago, but they had to cancel, and again, obviously subject to releases and a whole bunch of other stuff that comes out, so they had to cancel. So we've been on for both of us on the back burner a little bit, and then we just touched base again, and then we organised it. So I'm pretty excited. Forgot to tag my question. This is Andrew Begg. How do you plan a new army without a start collecting box? Looking at Age of Sigmar once I clear my backlog. Well, I used to. Yeah, we can do a bit of Q&A now. I've not done any hobby or anything. What are we in? Half an hour. Come on then. I used to just go out and buy a bunch of models I like, and then start worrying about it. Now I have to say I'm a little bit more structured. I think I generally get hold of the codex or the whatever it's called in Age of Sigmar. Why can't they just call them both codexes? Somebody tag at the bottom of the chat. Let me know what they're called nowadays. I honestly can't remember. I was just tipping my tongue. Anyway. I definitely start with the codex now, a little bit. What I'd also do at the same time is buy all the models that I really like, or at least buy some of my favourite models, and then I will build a list around those, because I know whichever way, irrelevant of how they play, I'll want like a centerpiece or a feature piece of the army to build with. So, for instance, with the Sylvaneth, it was always about the Tree Lords for me. Strangely enough, it wasn't about Alariel. So the collection didn't start with Alariel. It started with, you know, Tree Lords, and I was very much about, I wanted to build an Ent army sort of thing, you know, that idea. And of course, I got the start. It wasn't a start collecting, but it was like an army box set. So you've got a whole bunch of dryads and all the rest, and then you know, then you start looking at the more elite armies, like adding units like adding in Kurnoth Hunters and all the rest. So I think a good place to start is find your centerpiece model that is going to get you engaged and interested in the army. Find that model in that faction that you're really interested in, and start there, whether it's a behemoth, a heavy supporting 40k or whatever, because if you know you want to make a feature of that, and that's what sparked your interest in that faction, it's going to keep you interested. Because I do think sometimes the start collecting boxes, they are great value, but if there isn't a model in there that inspires you, you kind of struggle to get started. So you kind of, and the worst thing you could probably ever do is force yourself to start with troops. You know, so the first job I'm going to do is paint 60 troops. Don't do that. Paint a feature model, either HQ or something like that, or like I say, a behemoth, And then when you've got that on your desk and you're pleased with it and you're pretty happy with the scheme and all the rest, then start doing the troops around it, because then it becomes a task of saying, well, I need to supplement that with troops, rather than I need to get my troops done before I'll allow myself to have fun with some of the bigger models or something. So that's how I do it. Start with what you like, build upon it there, and use the codexes and the battle tomes. Oh, well, I bet somebody said it at the bottom. Yes, kablams, thank you. And the battle tomes to inform how you expand the army into 1,000 points, and then 1,500 points, and then 2,000 points, which is the other bit I'd recommend. Get up to 1,000 points. If you can't motivate yourself to build and and or paint a list to 1,000 points, then you don't go out and buy 10,000 points worth of models, because they'll sit on your shelf for some time. Crikey, that was a long answer. And it's also really put me behind on the chat. There's a weird noise coming from over at my left. I'm just going to inspect. I don't know what it is. Don't worry about it. Okay. I had a friend that converted an electronic knife for mixing paint. Ah, yeah, like those bread knives that kind of had two blades that went like that. Yeah, do the same job, wouldn't it? Probably a little bit more portable than a jigsaw, but yeah, good idea. I think the idea of the jigsaw is you get those little tiny G clamps, or not G clamps, but the little clutch clamps, and they more or less just fit in where the blade goes, I suppose. So you've got almost no work to do at all in that. Right, a bunch of people saying hello to each other. Derpimus Maximus borrowed an old Eppendorf shaker out of a lab and used it as a stirrer. That's shocking. Right, Akari at Wargame Online. Are you joining in on the Frostgrave campaign that will be run by Pink and Rachel? I am, yes, and so is Jack. I have no hopes whatsoever that I will even stick a chance of it. I think I've just been given the bottom of the pile wizard with the bottom of the pile support. But when we were actually picking all of those up, there was so much going off that day, and Sam and Rachel were going crazy over Frostgrave, and I was kind of on the periphery of it, sort of floating around. And then they were like, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, "I don't know." And then I was just, "Well, what don't you want to do?" And they kind of grabbed a bunch of wizards, and I was like 2 left. And I was like, "Well, I'll have that one." And Jack went, "Yeah, I'll have the other one." So I'm a summoner, and I think I'm a summoner, and Jack's a lich. So that's what we're doing. We will be joining in, absolutely. At Wargame Online, Necromunda, are you going to play it, and which faction? Yes, I am, and I've not made my mind up. I want to see what the models look like, because there's bound to be some new releases. So again, first and foremost, hobby. My hobby revolves around the models and painting and modeling and stuff like that. So I want to see what new models come out, and then I'll make a choice on faction. To be honest, the original Rogue Trader Russo was more of a structure towards a narrative game rather than a match play. Yes, absolutely it was. Big Met Danskull, Kablams, yeah, just a general talk about Grotch and Gretchens. Points didn't exist in the first. Nope, not at all. We're getting old school. Actually got a set of 50 more. So this is Sean Jewett has a set of the 54mm Inquisitor models to paint as a commission. Yeah, I mean, they're nice, aren't they? I mean, they're really nice to see them in the larger scale. But like I say, I'd be really happy if they made it kind of interchangeable with the main game, so you could take some of your models and expand upon it quickly. Right, Ralph almost done his nicotine break before the show. This is serious. Thank you, Ralph. I'm glad to know that you're pushing on through the chat, and I'm not driving you back to cigarettes. Okay, what else have we got going off? Jim Wilson joining us, saying, hope you didn't miss too much. Not too much. I think in the style that we've all come to know and recognise with Monday Musing, there's like some scribbles on a bit of paper there, what I'm meant to be doing, and so far I've done none of it. At Wargaming On, this is Lilith. Mine was Spirit of Durfru. Never meant to start playing now. 300-point army. There you go. It's such a great model, that one, isn't it? It's really nice. Impossible to transport, but I've just about managed to do it. Surreal's just said, "Uh-oh, so what is one to do if they have purchased 10,000 points?" Well, it's okay to, you know, not practice what you preach, because I've got probably about 9,000 points of Eldar, of which about 3,000 is painted. What do you do if you've gone and done that? Start, and then keep going, and eventually you'll get there. Right now, I'm working on a bunch of Wraithguard that have come out of their box for the first time since I bought them when the model was released. Whoa, dear me, what's going off now? Andrew Begg at Warhammer Online. I agree about the start collecting boxes. I bought one in 40k and the amount of models you get through at once was just draining. So I'm taking a more structured approach now. Yeah, cool. Like I say, it's all about motivation, isn't it? That's the interesting thing. And you've got to be motivated to push on through and get those models done. And if you lose it, it's actually quite demoralizing. For me, it's quite demoralizing when I end up with too many ongoing projects on the desk, to the point where I secretly hide some of them away and pretend it never happened. I've got a model that's probably the most shameful abandoned project. And it was an idea I had for a wave serpent to transport Wraithguard. And I got rid of the canopy and replaced the canopy with like the spirit seal from the Hemlock Wraith Fighter or something like that. I don't know where I got it from. And the idea of the actual wave serpent is a wraith construct was the idea. So I called it my wraith serpent, which I was pretty pleased with my coined term of phrase there. I spent ages crafting the conversion, getting the canopy to look perfect, getting the seal to look fantastic, and it looks brilliant. Primed it grey, put it away. Shocking. I'll get back to it one day. Part of the problem is I was so pleased with the conversion I didn't want to spoil it with a paint job. Right, okay, then what have we got? I got myself one of those paint shakers from Rob Art, Total Decadence, but definitely worth it. Yeah, they're expensive, aren't they? From this is Ralph Hummel. They are expensive, but they're meant to be really good, aren't they? Did we do Sean Blake, Pump for Frostgrave? Right, we'll get on it. Derpimus Maximus, a Vortex Mega speaks would have been better. Born Killian, I usually start with a theme and build from there, like my Death Corps army is themed of the Great Wars, loads of infantry and artillery and minimum armor. Yeah, and what an amazing army you've got there as well, mate. Do I play, this is Cannabis Cultivator, good name. Do I play fantasy football? Do you mean? Yes, no, I don't play fantasy football. If you mean the game where you put all your team players together from different teams in the real world, then you kind of see how your team goes. I get it, but unless you mean football based in a fantasy realm, in which case, you know, yes, I play a bit of that. So when I say I play a little bit, I've played about 4 games of the latest release of Blood Bowl. Really enjoyed it, but put it away because the models weren't painted, and I'm a stickler for things like that. Okay, what have we got? Time to do some stuff from Adrian. Okay, well, cool. You go do some stuff, dude. I hope I've not delayed you in any way. Karanas at Warhammer Online. Will you guys be attending the Blood Tithe International Team Tournament? I don't know. We've not talked about it. So if the tickets are all gone, then that's a no. We'll have to look into it. With part of the problem is not quite knowing what's going to happen with my back at the moment. Vicaria, Phil, just make sure you take a back support brace with you when you go to Warhammer World. 3 hours bending over a table. Don't do yourself a mischief. Yes, I can't use anything like that, unfortunately. That makes the situation worse, but I appreciate the thought, Vicaria. Thank you. Scott Beale at Wargamer Online. With the new rules, you were supposed to be able to customize and convert your vehicles and have it be legal. Yes, there are, of course, some vehicles coming out, isn't there? Yeah, I mean, all I did in terms of the model didn't change in terms of shape and size, so it's perfect proxy, you know, in that respect. The idea of it being wraith controlled was, from a stat point of view, I just gave it like the crystal targeting matrix, the spirit stones, and all the rest. So it was like a uber, unshakable, wave serpent. So the idea was, if I ever use that rather than over a normal wave serpent, essentially it was just an uber upgraded wave serpent with every option. So it got the sort of I can't remember what they're called, but the extra little jets. Oh, goodness me. I'm definitely not having a good day. You'll have to excuse me. Right. What else have we got going off? Anybody going to do the Kickstarter for Redgrass Everlasting Wet Palette? You haven't seen it. I think I have. And I don't think I'll be doing it. I'm quite happy with my wet palette as it stands at the moment, but an everlasting wet palette does sound like wonderful. That the one with the little attachments that click on it and all the rest. So I know you can't put a link, but it might be worth linking up on the community site, on the community page anyway, Ralph. Right, let's do a couple of let's go at 1:45. Let's do 5 minutes on channel update and see where we're at. So Bat Report went up on YouTube last night at 2 o'clock in the morning because the upload took so long. There is obviously Monday Musing tonight. Personally, some content that's going out. Jack's done an unboxing for Mortarion and the Death Guard releases, so that will be going up as soon as he's got that edited. That might be tomorrow night or the night after. Sam is working on finalizing his, I think, a premium tutorial for his Black Dragon Primaris Marines. He was round here this afternoon while I was at work, just using the old airbrush, and he's nailed his bases out. Lava effect, and beautiful they were looking as well. So he's off doing that. Bless you, Steve. Thank you very much. Steve's just donated another £15. Thank you very much. And by the way, congratulations on the good news you said. I know that's offline, but congratulations nevertheless. And thank you. That's, again, much appreciated, sir. Well, where was I? Black Dragon's tutorial. So that will be going up as a premium. There is going to be at least one battle report filmed this week, possibly 2 battle reports filmed this week, but I'm being very clear in my language there. Filmed, that doesn't mean edited and put up. As you guys know, it takes me a while to get things sorted. So the good news is at least more content. 40k and Age of Sigmar. I know that myself and Steve need to have a rematch, really, because we need to actually play concurrent turns. No, wait, not concurrent turns. Consecutive. We need to play all of our turns and not miss any of them. How about that? Right, okay then. Steve Forrest is back, and he's back and donated. Thank you very much, sir. Sean Jewett, Ralph just looked at it, but as far as I went, homemade, my homemade one was fine. Caria, Phil looking at some airbrush needles. Come in 0.15, 0.2, 0.4. Any recommendations to start with? It all depends on what you're doing, is the honest truth. If you haven't airbrushed before, then personally I'd recommend going with the bigger needle and the bigger brush, only from a point of view of generally the finer needles and the finer, the finer brushes sometimes are more expensive, and if you are going to learn to airbrush, I'd say practice on a more basic brush. Plus, I think learning to airbrush, it's good to start with base coating, pre-shading, and then using it for large base areas, not just base coating but highlighting and zenithal highlighting and stuff like that. If you get that in the bag, all of that is doable with a 0.4 brush. And in fact, even some fine detail work, if you lower the pressure down and get yourself a decent, not a decent compressor, but a decent enough compressor. I know that Steve at Barwell Bodyworks in the UK, they do an £80 compressor that is, I think, double pistoned and has got a 2-litre tank underneath, and it also has a cooling fan, which is brilliant for when you're learning, because I don't know whether a lot of people know, but those small compressors, they overheat and they shut off. Most of them have an auto shut off, some of them don't. You do have to be careful when you go for the super cheap ones, because they don't shut down, they just get hot and then burn themselves out. So yes, start with a broader brush, cut your teeth on that. If you like it, and the best thing to do is if your skill is outpacing your brush, then you know you're ready for a new brush, rather than getting a brush you're not ready for and then getting frustrated that you can't master it. And it's very easy to clog up a 0.5 or a 0.2 brush. It's really easy to clog it up if you don't know what you're doing, and then do all sorts of silly things like poking needles and stuff inside them to try and unclog them. Okay, Ralph Hummel. Well, my home is very dry, so I always struggle to keep my paint wet, even with a wet palette. Okay, yeah, fair point, actually. And of course, winter is coming on here in the UK, which means the heating will be on all the time now. Got a good point, yeah. Okay, I'll check it out. I will check it out. Oh, here we go. At Ikari, this is coming from Ralph. He'd recommend a dual setup, 0.4 and a 0.2. Most acrylics don't shoot well on anything less than 0.3, and you have to have thinning and air pressure nailed. Well, there you go. He just said in an incredibly succinct way what I waffled on for 10 minutes about. And everybody goes on. Literally, Ralph's comments. Ralph, I'll just put you in charge. I could have gone for a drink. I could have relaxed for a bit. I didn't know you got all this covered. Can you just, like, next time we get an airbrush question, can you just put I've got this, and then I can move on to something else? Bless you. Okay. Von Killian, you know what? I've been a premium member for like 6 months or so, and I think I've only ever watched like 5 premium videos. I need to step up my vid game here. Well, it's all there. If you go along to, let me see. I tell you, why can't I operate my computer today? You go along to there and you select your subscription level and select premium. You will see all the premium videos nicely done, because obviously anything that's free is also available on YouTube, so there's a good chance you will have watched it. But just to kind of go down this, how to paint Gene Stealers, there's a battle report on Ultramarines and Adapters Custodes, how to paint Slaughter Priests, Sylvaneth Wildwood Soul Pods, one of my favourites, because that's about using electronic lighting, LED lighting in Soul Pods. There's an Eldar versus Nurgle battle report. Iron Jaw Grunters, Summer Fans Sam's finest work, by the way. For those of you who haven't seen that, his grunters are beautiful. Craft World, how to paint a Primaris Dragon. So he's moving on now to he's doing crazy bases and all sorts of stuff for his captain, I think. Iron Jaws, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Tyranids versus Nurgle. You get the idea. There we are, Necron Warriors. I think there's a whole bunch of stuff on Necrons. And of course, if you do want to filter even further, you could go by faction as well. So if you want to see that Nurgle stuff, then, you know, you just select it. Or, you know, if you want to see the Iron Jaws videos, you can just call them up. And there's all the Iron Jaws stuff. And some of it's premium, and some of it's free, and some of it's freemium. So go help yourself and get on there. Thank you very much for supporting the channel anyway, even though you've not been tuning in. That's still wonderful of you, because that $2.99 a month has all gone to help us to do more and more. Ralph Hummel, once you've nailed thinning, there you go. You can start working with it. Yeah, thinning and air pressure. And it was an interesting lesson that Sam learned today on getting the consistency of the paint right for the type of job you're trying to do versus the pressure coming out as well. So there you go. Right, bunch of chat. There we go. MoonClan for the win. Age of Sigmar. There you go. Yeah, MoonClan. That's the models that I've given to Sam. Actually, there was a whole bunch of MoonClan, including a spider and the arachna thing. But I'd converted it into a MoonClan and built this massive teepee on the back of it so they could keep outside of the sun. I really like that. But I mean, obviously, you'd have to kind of prox it under its basic rules, but still, a MoonClan themed arachnid. And the idea was that the arachnid would be painted up in as kind of like as a cave spider, so it would have that sort of glow in the dark, pale skin was the idea. Ooh, Gene Stealer, yeah. Oh, Gene Stealer, cool. Yeah. I don't know where you saw that. You must have seen that on one of the edges of the video, or you saw it on there. I don't know, but anyway, yes. Von Killian, yeah, I end up watching all the live chats. Okay, so let me see. Sign up to premium member. Oh, bless. Kari is doing some advertising for us. Thank you very much. Then cheaper than a Costa coffee. What's been going off on the hobby front? I want to drop into a little bit. I'm going to run over. I think it's clear I'm going to run over. So apologies for anybody who's tuned in for just the hour. I'll run over 10 minutes or so. I can't do much more though because the back is telling me to stop. So right, hobby wise. Well, I have been working on. Let me see which camera is going to behave itself. I've come prepared this time. So let's flip over to that. You know what? Let's just move that camera out of the way because it's really not working. There we are. So this is what I've been working on, and as people have probably seen, the base was built. Let's take him out of the base. This is the base that's kind of ripping up. The lava effect was the idea, so just the fact that this converted avatar is piling along and ripping the ground up around him in glory. So base is done, I think, more or less. A little bit of shadow under his feet to work on, but more or less done. I think I want to tweak some of these outer edges here and stuff like that. Not super neat. The avatar is more or less there. The reason I set this camera up is, let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. See if I can zoom in a lot. This is why I set this camera up, look. What I do, broke the focus. Go out a little bit. There you go. So what I did with this was use a layer of cracked paint built into the detail along here. Right, built into the detail along here. And we did things like the outer legs. So I took all of the dark Eldar-y kind of spikes off the legs and replaced them with things like spirit stones and little oh, what are they called? I used to remember the name of those. They are runes, aren't they? But little Eldar wraith runes or something like that. And the little dangling rope I've done at the top here. But again, the idea of putting this crackle paint on, which gives it this kind of lava-y effect. Now I know it's a bit more subtle than the Forge World model. I'm aware of that. If I can line this up. Sorry, the camera's so zoomed in, it's hard to kind of line it up. But I know it's a little bit more subtle than the Forge World model. I know it's not super cracked up and broken, and I think I'm going to have to adjust the paint scheme accordingly. So this is going to be quite a smooth sort of lava-y glow, sort of molten metal glowing from the inside, and then this, where the cracks are, is like the surface sort of like on lava, so this will darken slightly. And then I think the idea is these inner areas here, the original temptation was to fill them with crackle paint and then just let them split and crack, but what I'm going to do is do the glow effect in there. And then this raised area of the armor is going to be like the crust of lava. So that's going to be black and ashen. And then obviously these cracked effects come into their own then. Sorry, off camera there. So the cracked effects come into their own then. That's the idea. So that's where I'm at. Elster Nation still posted me, I think, the larger sword. At the moment, that's just pinned in. So I can take that out if I want. Like that as well, that's just pinned in. It's not, oh sorry, his hair's pinned in, not fully fastened in yet. So, and that's partly because there's still some cleaning up to be done on some of this. Couldn't really see what was happening until I put the primers on. Sometimes when you've done a lot of green stuff work and things, you don't really see what's happening until you get the primer down, and then you can kind of see where it needs a little bit more work and a bit of touch-ups. That's what I've done. So what I'm hoping to do is, this is going to be an airbrush tutorial, but I'd say okay, advanced in terms of the control of the airbrush, not in terms of the techniques. So it will be a collection of techniques that will show you, I'm back, how to achieve similar effect to this monstrous beast that is my old Forge World avatar, which I still haven't managed to stick on eBay yet, but it will be going on eBay soon. So it will be an airbrush tutorial on an attempt to try and achieve that paint scheme, but on a smaller scale. And like I say, because it's not as broken and as cracked, I am going to have to change the way that this paint scheme is done, because if you kind of look into some of this here, I may have gone too far again. Will it focus? Will it focus? Yeah, is it? So, but the idea of this is this ashen sort of break to the edge was the idea. So I don't think I'm going to get away with that on the smaller version of the model. But needless to say, I'm very happy with it. The other thing I'm working on, this is a mess. Is I say it's a mess. I've been priming, and I make myself all sorts of weird and wonderful priming tools. So these are all mounted on cocktail sticks. Sam's preferred method is wires, so he prefers to use whatever they're called, paper clips. I like cocktail sticks because my hands are fatter and older, so it gives me something extra to hold on to. And these are, let me see if I can take one out without breaking it. I'm going to have to be careful, so give me a second, guys. Take that out and take that out. These are Wraithguard. Let's see if I can zoom in a bit. There you go. So this is Wraithguard. They've only been based at the moment. Wraithguard that have been given a Dark Reaper-esque appearance. So the idea is of, for those of you who are aware of the Dark Reapers, sort of targeting fins on the side of the head, the fur, the hair, sort of horsehair mane tail that they have dropping out the back of their helmet. The idea is to try and replicate that. I can't really show it you at its best because they're on cocktail sticks, but believe it or not, that looks quite nice when you line that head up on there, sort of thing. So that's the idea. I think you get the general gist. I will be putting those heads on there. They're separate because I want to paint them different colour schemes. The other thing I've done is, again, to mirror the Dark Reaper, is extending these little ribs onto the cloak, and also put a rear sort of little piece of cloth as well, and put that detail on again. So it's just a nod. It's just a nod to the Dark Reapers, if I can find them, for those of you familiar with the Dark Reaper design. So I'm doing well, aren't I? There's water all over my desk, but fear not. I'm just going to push on, because I think that looks like a self-managing spill. In other words, if I just ignore it, we'll be fine. So, where are we at? Where are we at? That's what happens when I'm on for extra time, isn't it? So that's the hobby update. Bunch of stuff going off, little Dark Reapery dudes. Let's have 5 minutes on the chat, and then let's talk about Warhammer TV for a little bit more. I chatted about it at the beginning, but let's finish off on the Warhammer TV, because it's what I'm probably most excited about. So there we go. Where are we on? So whoa. Are you all still there, or have I just messed up? I think I just messed up, didn't I? There you go. That's what happens when your mouse gets wet. Is everybody still there? Ouch, headphones. Sorry, Frost and Fist. Right, okay then. Let's try and catch up with the chat and see what's happening. I was considering either getting an Exalted Spear, Wheel of Corn, or 10 Skeletons and a Pint, and it's a pretty difficult decision to make. Is it really? Sean Blake, Spider-Fan Goblins hit like a truck. There you go, you see. Surreal, I know one more donation and Pat's name won't be on the list. It's like when Dark Side of the Moon went off the album charts. Oh, bless. Ferris, Wargamer Online, that's coming along. Lovely, Phil. Thank you very much, Ferris. MCM 1966, evening, all missed it again. I think I need to set an alarm for the live streams. Well, I'm still here. I know I'm meant to be winding up, but I think I'll probably do about another 10 minutes more and then I'm done. Hey, look, 20 more years of practice and I might be able to do that. I'm sure you'll be fine. What's up with the tiny heart? It's part of the oh dear, I think I've killed a bunch of people's ears. I can see them sort of saying ouch, my ears, and all the rest. Let me just check that the spill is contained on an area of the desk so I don't have to get up and mop it all up. Right, apologies for blowing all of your eardrums out while my glass got knocked over right in front of the mic. So apologies for that. Let me see. The tiny heart. Right, that's because it's the avatar of Cain from the Age of Sigmar range, and he's carrying a heart. I've toyed with a few things, whether to simply get rid of the heart. I do have a spare hand, but it's not great, and I don't think it's appropriate, so I could go with the empty hand effect. But I've decided, as soon as I've got Bealtan, and my craft world is Bealtan, and Bealtan has been ripped apart, that I've decided to say that essentially the heart is, because for those of you who are familiar with Bealtan, their icon is like a glyph with a red heart above it, is to kind of symbolize the fall of Bealtan. There you go. I've retconned a bit of fluff into justifying what the red heart in the hand of the avatar represents. Oh, at Wargamer Online, our Reaper / Wraith for Sam, so far I could name them Salty Reapers. They're for dealing with Sam. I'm not sure they're for Sam. A self-managing... Surreal, you're a very funny chap. A self-managing spill. Sounds like how Russia dealt with Chernobyl. Bless you. No, it's a big pool of water, but it's a big pool of water over a tidy desk, so it's not running into laptops or going anywhere it shouldn't, other than it went onto my mouse, which made me mess around with the live stream, so apologies for that. You're still there. Thank you very much, Kablams. Gain access to... Akaria is advertising again. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Bless him. Akaria, you're doing a sterling job, mate. Okay. Kablams is saying he loves the on-the-spot lore. There you go. Every time I play with D-Cyphers, they have been beasts. Yes, that's the plan. I need some beasts to deal with, Sam. I like the idea. The how I jumped from D-Cypher Wraiths to Dark Reaper themed D-Cypher Wraiths it's just simple. The Scythe and the Dark Reaper having a scythe as a weapon. So in my little world, that meant, well, the Dark Reapers, once they've shed their mortal coil and their souls have been put inside little spirit stones and various things, it makes sense when you bring in the D-Scythes around, who, if you go with the lore behind the Hemlock Wraith, the Hemlock Wraith fighter pilots, again, they're very much seen as a little bit on the edge. They're using arcane technology that isn't necessarily approved of. And the D-Scythes, as far as I'm concerned, aren't any different. So you've got to be pretty dark-minded, even as a Wraith construct, I think, to go around wielding a D-Scythe around. So, and in the Eldar series by Gav Thorpe, there's a great bit where they talk essentially... a Dark Reaper at a party, and they're a miserable bunch. They're not the happiest souls. They leave their helmets on a lot of the time, which must be quite scary. So I quite like the idea that, if a Spirit Seer was seeking a soul to put inside the D-Scythe unit, then it would be the Dark Reapers that would come to the fore. So that's how I went. I think it worked both rhythmically in terms of the language, and at the same time it made a lot of sense with me in terms of the fluff. So that's what I was trying to do, and it really, again, there was advice on building an army. I think it helps if you're working on an army to create narrative all the time. So what's got me really excited about that conversion is the narrative, the fact that when I put them on the table, I've got a sense of who they are and what they were, and I think that makes you put that little bit of extra effort in, in terms of the conversion. I've probably messed up all of the camera work, but let's see, in terms of doing, these little tabards, with the little conversions and, converting the heads, it didn't take much work, but, just putting the little hair and stuff, just mirroring how these guys look when you see them. Probably a bad idea to load the 360 up, but as you can see, you've got the sort of hair hanging down the back, and these little sort of tabard areas here and on the rear again, which I've replicated in both instances. And it's not exactly the same. What it's doing is borrowing some of the iconography, if you like, from those, you know, from those models, and applying them to my conversion. So it always makes me happy to work like that, and I'm always more motivated when there's a story. Plus, I built a Dark Reaper Wraith Lord, and they'll look so cool next to the Dark Reaper Wraith Lord. Okay. Ferris says, maybe somebody's asked this before, but how are the Caradon Overlords coming along? Not very well at all. They are sat in boxes at the moment, unfortunately. Obviously, I've done the metallics test. That is the place I'm going next on Age of Sigmar. I've got to prep for this battle up at Warhammer TV, and I still need to finish 4 units of Gene Stealer cult stuff before I'm at 1,000 points. So there's a little bit of work to be done first. I'm hoping to get some time off work for a few days where I hope to catch up, because usually if I can sit down for 2 or 3 days in a row, I can get the best part of, you know, 1,000 to 2,000 points of models done on average at sort of tabletop standard, as you know, that stuff you've seen. So yes, that will be the idea. Once I can get those 2 out the way, I am pretty good to start the Caradon Overlords, and I'm still very excited about those. They are such a great release. I keep drooling over the boxes, but I'm really keeping myself controlled that I don't start opening them up and start building them. Right, Warhammer TV roundup then, because I talked a little bit about it at the beginning, but we had some questions right at the start that was asking. So armies, are we keeping our army list secret from each other? Well, no, only by the merit that we have to send our army list through to the Warhammer TV people anyway. So we're aware of each other's lists. We also knew what both armies were taking. Sam didn't have a lot of choice in his list, is the truth, because he's only got that many points. I think it's 1,500 points, and he's not got many more than that in terms of his custodies, which is what he's taking. So he didn't have a huge amount of choice. I've got about 3,000 to 4,000 points worth of Eldar to pick from. So I had a lot more choice, and bear in mind I knew I was going up against custodies. So have I tailored the list? I certainly haven't. You know, I haven't built the list in complete ignorance of who my opponent is. Should we put it that way? Is it absolutely tailored? No. I think, you know, as much as I rib Sam about Eldar not being particularly competitive right now, I think it's possible to build a list that would make Sam's life a bit of a living hell, really, because I could just hit him with dozens of multiple small units and just scatter them all over the board and have his slow little dudes wandering around for weeks trying to chase me from objective marker to objective marker. I don't think that will be fun for anyone, and poor old Sam would have a salt overdose, wouldn't he? So no, I'm intentionally building a list that I think will be you know, both competitive, if you like, or built a list rather that's both competitive but also shares some attributes of the custodians, shall I say. So some heavy hitters in there, multi-wound, multi-damage heavy hitters that will at least survive more than a round in combat, hopefully survive more than 1 round of combat with custodians, but also the fact that for me to get the value out of those units, I'll need to get into combat and all the rest. So I will be doing that, and it will hopefully make for a more interesting game for both of us. So that will be the plan. I think Green Stuff Games has just joined us. So hey, Green Stuff Games, how you doing? Hey peeps. Surreal has just said Sam's dice torment him more than any person or list ever could. Honestly, we need to check the stats on that. That needs a truth check, because I think if we ran the bat reps and looked at his dice rolls, I'm sure his dice rolls are above average. Sam just complains about above average rolls because they're not ridiculously above average rolls. If Sam rolls 20 dice, he wants to see at least 10 sixes, I would say. Otherwise, it's a rubbish roll. We should test that. That's another truth that needs to be tested. So that's the lists. The game is, like I say, between 2 and 5 on the 29th. So we've got a 3-hour slot. We're going to have to work pretty quick on the game. And in answer to Akaria's question right back at the beginning, are we going to do some practice games? Yes, we are. And I think we're going to film them as well, but we won't release those as battle reports until after we've done the Warhammer World, the Warhammer TV slot. Because we want that kind of slot to be, well, the first time in known history that me and Sam go up against each other. And then what we can do is quickly release after that day some of the test battles. So because obviously Warhammer TV, you know, they cover the game as much as they can with their camera, you know, and it's a great setup they've got, but it's a little bit more distant than an edited battle report where you go over. So it'd be nice for people to be able to watch the game on Warhammer TV and then, you know, call up a couple of battle reports that we've done as well to see the armies played out in different scenarios. So that will be the plan. So yes, what else have we got to talk about? Oh, I suppose just finally to drum up some interest on the 29th, really. I think it'd be brilliant, and I appreciate that a whole bunch of you wonderful people are scattered all over the globe. But if any of you lovely people can make it along to Warhammer World on the 29th for the afternoon, drinks are on Sam. That's a shocking thing to say. Drinks are on me. How about that? I'll buy people a drink. Come on then. So come down to Bugman's Bar. Meet us at lunchtime. Let's go around the exhibition together. Let's catch up. Put some faces to names, and you know, and cheer us along during the battle, because it'd be wonderful. I think you can definitely watch the game. There's space to stand. You have to stand behind a barrier if you like, but you're only like 5 foot away from the table, if that, so you can see the game going on. So if you want to see a live battle between myself and Sam, then it will be taking place and there'll be room for people to watch, and we'd love it if a few people could make it along. And like I say, if we could put faces to names, would be great, and meet some of you wonderful people. So I think that's it for me tonight. 10:15, 10:17. I ran a little bit longer than expected, but it's okay, isn't it? That's okay. I'd hope that everybody's enjoyed the show anyway. So, right, I will call it a day at that. I've got a desk to clean up. I've got a drink to mop up. You guys have probably got ears to be repaired, so apologies for the big loud noise. And yeah, let's just do one last catch up on the chat and we'll say goodnight. So what have we got here? Akaria, should you bring pom-poms? Yes, if you want. Your pom-poms will be nice. Team Sam, Team Phil on each pom-pom, so you could remain wonderfully neutral. Team WGO, how about that? Kablams, certainly be watching. Not sure I can make it down on the evening. Well, it's 2 till 5, so it would be in the afternoon. But either way, it'd be great if you can watch. And if not, we shall catch up anyway, no doubt. And feel free to say hello during the live stream. Ralph Hummel, that'll be a stretch for me going, lol. Would love to, though. Yes, okay. It's a lot to ask for somebody as far away as you to come over. Never mind. We'll be releasing battle reports anyway of those lists, and you can see me and Sam chalk and cheese it out. Chalk and cheese. What a great summary of our play styles. Right, okay then. Frost and Fist says, Phil, your it's jumping. Hold on a second. Phil, you're a conversion master. I want to tear the pre-molded shoulder pads off the new primary stuff without destroying the model. What's the best way? Tear the pre-molded shoulder pads off without destroying the model. If it's anything like the Death Guard, which Jack was looking at the Death Guard, I think your only option really is to more or less build the models, and then quite liberally hack off the shoulder pads with some really sharp cutters. So like the Citadel cutters, they're really sharp, a brand new set, and just sort of slice away and carve it down, because it's not got to be perfect, has it? Because there's going to be a new shoulder pad going on top. But yes, that's how I would do it, is just shaving bits off basically with the snippers. I think anything else is a bit too much aggressive. A Dremel or something like that will just make a mess, and the scalpel is just going to be dangerous doing anything like that. So snip it off. If there's a hole underneath, because if the model's hollow, then a blob of green stuff into there on the inner shoulder size. You know, if you get the bare bone Space Marines without the shoulder pads, just blob of green stuff, and then, you know, squeeze the pad down on top. That's how I do it. But each model has got its own requirements, and I did look at the Death Guard with Jack, and it was definitely possible. And in the end, Jack decided, actually, you know what, by the time he's covered them in gunk, making each model unique wasn't really at the top of his agenda. Develop some chants in advance. That should be enough. Just far enough to breathe down Phil's neck uncomfortably. I use a Dremel and a steady hand. There you are. That's from the Alt Boys. It's the steady hand bit that worries me, and the fact that Dremels can spin off and damage detail. That's why I was suggesting sort of slowly snipping them off would be probably the way I'd take it. Big Mac Danskill saying great show, thank you very much, rest well. I will try Frost, I will try Team Rachel, Team Beard, Night All. So a whole bunch of wonderful people saying good night to each other, and in which case I shall take the hint too, and I'll say good night. Thank you very much to tonight's donators. So that's the Alt Boys and Steve Forrest. Thank you very much. That will be put to good use. We've got so much we're trying to do at the moment, and it really helps when we have a top up of the coffers like that to help us push on and get some investment in the channel. For instance, in the latest back report, we tried the new cameras. We've decided the cameras worked, but the angles didn't. So we want to change the angles, and we need to order a couple of extended cables to be able to reposition those cameras. So, to be honest, those 2 donations cover the cables and the extra brackets. So thank you very much. It's a relief. Right. Okay. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for likes and stuff like that. I assume people have liked it. Akaria usually makes people like my videos whether they want to or not, so thank you very much. Tune in to Wargamer Online community, see what's happening. We'll keep everyone posted on the releases, and we'll keep people updated on what's happening with the Warhammer TV stuff. As I've said, there's a bunch of new content going up this week. We'll keep you posted on more of that as well. And that's it. Thank you very much and good night. And we will see you again. I'm not sure I'll make Friday's show, but I will definitely back for another Monday Musing. So thank you very much. Night all.